I've been playing Genshin for almost 5 years now, and in that time I've developed a sort of routine. While over the years that routine has changed, the relative idea has stayed the same. Sometimes I get comments asking how or why I have so much of some materials, so today I'm going to be showing you the daily routine of a Genshin addict. So upon logging into the game, generally the first thing I'm going to do is check my resin. If I don't have any ulterior plans that day, I usually want to spend my resin first, get my commissions out of the way, that way I don't forget about them. Right now you can see I have 190 resin. What I like to spend resin on changes day per day, but right now what I'm working on is upgrading character talent. So if I come over here and I look at my sheet, today is Wednesday, which means I have leeway gold books to do. So honestly, spending resin really isn't that interesting. Really depends on what you do with it. But you may notice that my team looks a bit funky. And that is because what this team is this team is a friendship farming team. Currently, I actually only have Sethos left to level up my friendship. So I want to make sure that whenever I'm spending resin, he's on the team. The other part of what I do per day is I upgrade this little spreadsheet of drop luck. I don't know why I do it, but I do it. You can see today we are doing gold books. It took me 28 seconds to complete the run. 2 3 stars, 3 3 stars, gold books. Every single run I do, I'm gonna log into that spreadsheet. And the answer for why I do that is simply because I'm weird. I don't know why I do it. Another thing I like to do when I'm doing these talent domains is I like to try and speedrun it. So my current fastest time in this domain is 14 seconds, and it's really fun to try and beat that. In order to do this domain quickly, you gotta line up those two so it kind of cuts into your time. So the thing I learned about this domain, oh, I got a 14 second, let's go. So the interesting thing I learned about this domain when I'm trying to do it as quick as possible, when you group up the hilichurls at the back of the wall like this, if I do it properly and the Arlecchino C2 kills them at the same time, their bodies actually block the way to the Fatui agents. Whenever I'm doing it well, I'm gonna ult before the hilichurls have died. You can overlap the ultimate animation since it hits at the back end of the animation with the C2, so that they play during the same time, and then that way you're hitting the Fatui agents because they're spawning in the ultimate animation. Now if I could group these enemies quicker without having to run, this to run could possibly hit below 14 seconds, but it's very difficult. So now I just fill in the rest of the spreadsheet with the missing numbers. With all the drops finally into the spreadsheet, the next thing I do before collecting all my commissions and stuff is I come over here to check the books, and I need to update my book count. 78, 216, and then 89. Occasionally what I'll do is I'll also update these books for the entire spreadsheet, but today we're just going to do the gold books, and then also occasionally what I'll do is I'll condense the gold books, but today we're not doing that. Next up, you collect the commissions, and then we're obviously going to claim them. Do my expeditions as well. The expeditions I do are the 3 mining expeditions, as you might expect. And then recently I swapped to doing the 2 gold expeditions with the bonus characters in Smear Fontaine, because I need a total of 39 million for my next project. And I don't want to spend too much resin on ley lines. So I've started doing this to get some extra gold. Now, the next thing I'll do, obviously you got to collect your battle pass stuff. That's important. But the next thing I'll do on a general day is I'll check the event tab and make sure that I'm not missing any events, because I don't like to do events when they start. I usually save them until they're about to end. So 4 days left, but I did this one. We have 27 days to do some more Archon quests before the free rewards go away. We have 70 days until the area exploration is gone, and then we have 6 days left till the test run's done, but I did that yesterday. Another 27 days to do this music thing, and then this one does not have rewards. So luckily I am all caught up on events. Next thing to check is to make sure I'm caught up on the endgame modes. 2 days left until the Abyss resets, and I've maxed it out. The theater does not reset for another 3 weeks-ish, so I have time to do that as well. And then I know I just cleared Stygian Onslaught, but I would then check Stygian Onslaught, and no way I'm doing Fearless. That can go bite my nuts. So the next thing I do after making sure I'm caught up on events, caught up on limited time stuff like the end game modes and things like that, figure out how much do I want to play that day. Because if I don't have the time to play, this is where I'm done. But if I have the time to do some extra stuff, I like to figure out what I can farm. So taking a look at my inventory to see what I need, I have not done my weekly bosses, but those are optional because I've actually got all the weekly drops I need and I'm just pre-farming for stuff. If I'm saving the weekly bosses for Sunday, the last thing I really need for my next project is gold. I need about 39 million gold. I currently only have 29 million, so I need about 10 million gold. One more thing I forgot to do. This I do forget to do occasionally, is come into the teapot and I make sure that my teapot is cleaned up. I don't have to farm the plants anymore because I finished that achievement, but I do need to make sure that I'm collecting my realm coins and collecting my friendship. Oh yes, also I need to make sure I buy my transient resin. I should have done that 2 days ago, but I forgot because I haven't used the last bit. Wait, you can buy gold from this, can't you? You can buy gold. How much is it? So 200,000. This is actually something I should be doing that I've never thought of. I should be buying these. And now the only other avenue for getting gold once you've spent your resin is farming monsters and farming artifact spots. These investigation spots, you get 100 of them per day. What I have here, I have this route that I do that I got from a YouTuber named Chasm. The investigation spots can yield a bunch of different stuff. This is an artifact route that only grabs the artifacts that also give Mora. So you can see I got 300 from that one, and then I got 300 from that one, and I got 200 from that one. It's not exactly the most glamorous thing, but the no resin artifact farming is something I used to do a long time ago before Inazuma was released, and then I stopped doing it because I felt like I didn't need it. And then since that time, I've realized I actually kind of do need it still, mostly because I need the gold. With excess artifacts, you can either sell them for gold, or you can turn them into artifact XP, feed them to some garbage artifacts, and then use those artifacts for the transmuter. So I started doing the artifact route again for the transmuter, but then I realized after that I could use it for gold. I didn't actually know that. I learned that a couple months ago. Oops. Ah, goddammit. There's a quest here? I learned a couple months ago that you can actually sell off artifacts, and I usually end up with about 50,000 gold from selling the artifacts that I make along this, so it's unironically profitable. A gold ley line actually only gets you 61,000 gold, so doing this artifact run actually gets you a comparable amount of gold to spending 20 resin. The way that I think about it, because I don't know why I think about it like this, one gold ley line is 20 resin, which is 160 minutes of your life. Resin recharges as a rate of 1 per 8 minutes. So it is 160 minutes of your life. That's about 3 hours. Wait, 6120. It's 100. Wait, how am I so stupid? 20 times 8, 160 minutes, which is 2 hours 40 minutes. 61, 21, 80. How am I getting confused again? I don't know. Sorry, I kept forgetting. I was thinking about something else. Almost 3 hours of your life that you're saving yourself by doing this artifact run. And if you're wondering why I'm leaving some of these investigation spots up, they are investigation spots that either don't have gold but do have artifacts, or just straight up don't have artifacts at all and have stuff like food or something. The reason I'm so insistent upon collecting only the spots that have artifacts and gold, I want to have the most efficient route, because like I said, you can only collect 100 of these investigation spots per day. So if you collect an artifact spot that doesn't have gold, you're getting less than you can possibly get, right? Another reason that I'm adhering so strictly to each spot is because there's actually a thing you can do: increase the number of investigation spots that you can go to. I don't know the exact reasoning behind it, but from what my understanding is, if you are at 99 spots of investigation and then you collect your 100th spot, if you're in an area of the world that is still loaded, those investigation spots won't disappear. You only lose the investigation spots when you load up a new chunk of the world. So the idea is that with this artifact run, you're doing 99 investigation spots and then ending in a place that has a bunch of the spots so that you can actually push your artifact limit above 100. And I'm gonna be honest, I just realized that all the times I've done this, I forgot about this one because it was underneath the statue. One thing that I used to do daily that I don't do daily anymore is mining, basically. I used to do a mining route every day, but I have since then stopped doing that for a couple reasons. I used to do it every day because you needed crystals to make stuff like enhancement ore or craft gadgets, but I've crafted I never realized this place had ambient sound. I have my music shut off. Why is there... That's creepy. In the early days of Genshin, I needed a lot of weapon XP and I needed to craft all the gadgets. But now that I've crafted all the gadgets and I don't need to make enhancement ores, I don't really need the crystals. I have over 18,000 enhancement ores. I'm not going to need enhancement ores for a good long while, if ever again. You passively get crystals from doing the expeditions, and that's where most of my crystal income comes from. I also used to farm local specialties every day, or not every day, but every day I could, like the chili peppers. Why? Just because at one point in my life, chili peppers J-Yun chilies were really, really valuable because I needed them for Xiangling. Now they're not valuable, so I don't farm them. I also don't farm crystal cores because ever since they introduced the crystal fly trap gadget, I've gotten more than enough of these. I also don't really use condensed resin that often because it costs Mora to craft the resin, and I'm trying to save as much resin as possible. I used to hunt the unusual hilichurl every day. I used to plant the teapot plants every 3 days and stuff like that. Luckily for me, I don't have to do that anymore because I've actually finished those achievements. But those were things that I used to do every day. You may be wondering why I still have my friendship farming team out if I'm not spending resin anymore. And the reason for that is because you still get XP from fighting mobs, and I will occasionally kill a mob here or there. So that's just like a small amount of free XP. I have enough XP technically to max them out, but if I get these characters to like level 20 or above for free, it just saves a little bit of Mora. Well, I don't need a full team. There's very few times where Arlecchino just by herself can't get the job done, which is the benefit of having a character at C6. This is one other spot in the world where you actually have to be careful which artifacts you pick up. This first slot is fine because there's only one, but over here, this second spot, you can only get the investigation spot that's right here because the other one doesn't have gold in it, just artifacts. These investigation spots, they respawn every 24 hours, and so does your collection limit. I usually do this once every 2 days because if I do this artifact route like an hour after I get up, by the time I go to do Genshin the next day, they won't have respawned. So if I can, I do them every day. If not, I'll do them every 2 days. And then it also depends on if I have time. This is the final spot before I get to what's called the route extension, which is the place where I mentioned you're going to be collecting more than just the 100 spots. You're getting to a place in the map that is very dense with investigation spots, and because you don't have to leave that area to collect any of them, you can collect all of them at the same time and kind of extend the amount of investigation spots you get. So that route extension is actually down here in the Mausoleum of King Deshret. This is the beginning of the end. The pyramids do get a bit confusing, and now these little Doritos, sometimes I kill them, sometimes I don't. They are technically elite mobs, so you can see I just got 200 gold from killing them. An elite mob will drop extra Mora. I think it's 100 to 500 Mora for an elite mob. So it actually is worth it to farm these Doritos every time I run through. It just sometimes I get lazy and don't do it. One thing I learned from doing the elite farming route, turns out there's actually a limit to how much gold you can get from each mob. It's like 400. I couldn't imagine what the reason could be, but if for some reason you kill 400 of the elite enemies, you stop getting gold from them, and I think you stop getting drops from them. I couldn't imagine spending that much time in the game. Even when I was playing the game a lot more, like hours a day, I was not killing 400 enemies. That's a lot of enemies. I wonder how many enemies I kill in a day on average. I've never actually thought about that. Having these pins just makes it a little bit easier. I don't like how cluttered it makes my map in some places, but the alternative is having to pull up an image every single time, and I'm not gonna memorize all this. What do you think, I'm crazy? No. You know, every single time I come down here into these pyramids, I think the same thought, but I really love ancient Egyptian themes. It comes from being a Yu-Gi-Oh fanatic, but I just love the ancient Egyptian vibe. I like ancient Egyptian culture so much, I sometimes worry that I'm like a Koreaboo or a weeaboo. You know, those people who are super obsessed with Asian culture to the point where it's kind of fetishized. I worry that sometimes my love for Yu-Gi-Oh has made me kind of like that with Egyptian culture. Well, ancient Egyptian specifically. I don't know anything about Egyptian culture. This room is the one that always confuses me and I always have to look it up. One of these layers actually leads to a different section and I can never remember which one it is. So I have to double back over here. Yeah, see? Different section. So I think I always miss this one because I go into that room and then I can never grab the ones. I think it's just the one in here. Yeah. And then if I drop down to the third level, this one, yeah, this one is fine. This one's open. There should be one more here. No. Really? Did I miss it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I missed it. And then that's the final one. So this is the final spot of the run. This is what's called the route extension. This is pretty much where I'm at the 99th cap. And then because I don't have to fully leave this area and it's still loaded, I can collect all the stuff in this temple and it's past the 100 spots because pretty much every single one of these scroll tables has a little artifact. And then you come from there and then you drop down into these side rooms just like this. Also, this would go a lot quicker if I used an exploration team. I don't want to swap back into the farming team every time I want to fight an enemy, so it's just easier. I don't mind. I like Arlecchino. She's cool. I don't mind running around the world with her. And then because this teleport is actually seated in the middle of all these areas, it loads them so you don't have to worry about teleporting back to this one every time I want to do these ones. All I gotta do is run down here, down this staircase, not staircase, down this hallway, couple more in here, and we teleport back up here for the final section of the artifact farm. Run over here into this hallway. There is 2 staircases that go down on each side. I think this is the most annoying part of this route because you'll see when I get down into this room that they're actually kind of connected. You see right here, that's the other room that I have to go down and they're technically connected, but as far as I know, you can't actually get into either of them. Okay, that's like, I'm surprised it took so long to actually hit the artifact cap. Once you hit it, you have 2 options to do it. Either you come into the salvage, you quick select all the 4 stars, and then you can turn it into a couple bottles of XP, or alternatively, you come to here, you click the destroy button, auto add the same artifacts, and then if you destroy them, you'll see 420,000 gold, which is quite a bit. So you do that and then you can do it again in a second. Obviously I haven't finished the route. You gotta come all the way up the staircase, run across the room to the other staircase that's literally identical, looks exactly the same, kind of looks like Thoth. You come down here and we loot the identical room, and then we gotta run all the way back up to go do the rest of the route, which is like 1 room or 2 rooms, and all this for like 4 artifacts. You may have noticed that those artifact spots didn't actually give me Mora. I said earlier to avoid all spots that give artifacts with no Mora. The reason I'm collecting these ones, even though they don't give me Mora, is because they're all loaded anyway, so it's just free stuff. Because you'll notice, like, once I leave this area and unload these investigation spots, no more investigation spots will be here. So it's like, it's not part of the initial 100 spots, so it's just extra what you're getting, so there's no reason to not grab it. Alright, so that is the artifact route done. And just to prove it, let me go to a place that always has artifacts. There's none there because you've run out of the spots. You've hit the limit basically. See, no investigation spots. So the last section of this little artifact route is in Sumeru. There's actually a bunch of bubbles that you can pop that give artifacts and gold sometimes. So see, we pop this one, and it's an artifact. These are separate investigation spots that don't count as the normal ones because you gotta pop a bubble. I think this one has gold and that one has a pig in it. So I think there is 3 types of these extra investigation spots you can get. You have the bubbles. In Fontaine, you have a set of paint cans that you can destroy to get some extra spots. In Notlin, there's like the birds that burrow underground, and if you grab their tail, they reveal a spot. This is more than enough farming for me. If I truly had the same amount of dedication I used to, I would do all those spots every day, plus I would go mining, but it's too much Genshin for me because I also have to take to shower. But yes, that is the entire daily route done. Yeah, cool. Hope you enjoyed.
That won't ever change. Yeah, sometimes I'm mad, sometimes I'm okay. Yeah, I know I'll have what I want someday. I need my space now so I can feel nothing. I live this nightmare so I can be something. Yeah.